Of the morning at least, evacuating buildings. We had very high CO readings, well over 100, in a number of the businesses in this area. Once the buildings were evacuated, we did our best to get those CO levels down. At this time, we still have a number of businesses that have numbers in excess of 25, 30 parts per million.
What's a good number for CO?
There's no good number. There really isn't a good number for CO. Anything above zero you should be concerned about. I mean, at 35, we automatically evacuate buildings, whether they're residences or businesses. But, you know, if you're at home and your CO detector goes off, sometimes they're set at 15, sometimes they're set at 20. So they have a low threshold for a reason. It's a dangerous gas.
When are you expecting the businesses to open up?
There's not a timeline on the businesses reopening at this time. Again, we can't fully control the CO levels in a lot of these businesses right now. We do have a third manhole that's active. Eversource is working diligently to secure the power to that, but until that power is secure, and we know it's secure, it's going to generate carbon monoxide until then.
What's that mean, the third manhole is active? Like it could be a problem? Or?
All the manholes are connected to each other. So generally, if you have a problem with one, if you're unable to shut the power down, it'll trickle to the next one, and then it'll trickle to the one after that. At this point, we think we have it contained to that third manhole, and we have plenty of personnel on scene to make sure it stays where it is.
What do you think caused it?
I'm sorry?
What do we think caused the first explosion?
I think it's going to take a few days to get to the bottom of that. They're going to have to get into the manholes and determine exactly what happened. This high voltage electricity flowing, 6, 8 feet below ground, and until you can get your eyes on it, there's really no way to determine the cause.
And is it all electrical that's in that underground areas that these manholes lead to?
At this point, we believe everything's related to electrical, yes, Eversource.
Is it the buildings on that side of Brownell that are impacted by the CO levels?
It's the buildings to my right side, that entire block going all the way to the block behind it, which is Church Street.
Eversource described it as an underground electric cable fault. Is that something that could contribute to an explosion?
It could, yes. Yes. And they're the experts on that. So they generally would have an idea of what could have caused this without seeing it. I'm not prepared to speculate until I know for sure.
With a scene like this and with those CO levels, you talk about the challenges, dangers to your firefighters as you're dealing with something like this?
It's always challenging when you get into these basements. You have a lot of businesses that are in one block. It's not separate businesses with their own building. So it's challenging when you get into the basements and you identify the high levels of this dangerous gas. They do have their personal protective equipment, and they're on air, as we call it. They're wearing their SCBAs, but it's still dangerous when you're walking into these basements. It's an explosive gas as well.
You mentioned that there's a third manhole that's active and also higher than you'd like CO2 levels. Will this area be blocked off for a while then?
I would expect this will be blocked off throughout the night.
Were there any injuries and how many alarms?
It went to what we call a straight box. So we had 2 ladder trucks, 3 engines, the rescue, a squad, and the deputy. We added another engine and another truck just because of the volume of buildings. We did have 1 firefighter that was transported with non-life-threatening injuries to the hospital probably about 4 hours ago.
Was that injury from the actual, the second explosion that happened?
It was not a result of the second explosion, no. It was a result of the incident, but not of the explosion.
Are you able to give us any more?
We think at this time that it's smoke inhalation.
Chief, how much time between the first one and then the second one? And you guys were investigating at that point, right?
It was minutes. It wasn't a long time between the two of them, which is usually the way it happens.
The two were within minutes apart?
Yes.
Just to clarify, the third one that's still active right now, they're still working to turn power off there, so that's kind of also part of the reason you're protecting the area. Is that accurate?
Exactly. We were able to shut the power off to the first 2.
Okay.
The third one, we're still trying to locate the shutoff of that power. So until that power is shut off, it's still actively burning, and it's actively creating carbon monoxide.
Just
guess at this point, what's your message to those who work in this area, live in this area, and just try and get through this area?
I know that we don't want anybody crossing the yellow line, the yellow tape. There's the potential for others to pop. We don't think it's going to happen, but as a precaution, we've set a wide barrier for people. If you're working in the area, by all means, make a phone call. I'm not sure if these businesses will be open tomorrow. They certainly won't be open tonight.
Which direction is the third manhole? Beyond?
It's on that same sidewalk, up by the beat.
Kind of where we see a bunch of.
Yes.
Can you describe the scene here when their explosions were going off, the fire shooting out of the manholes?
Initially, it's hectic. I mean, nobody knows what it is. Harvard Square is a unique place with a lot of people, with the subways, so sometimes people aren't really sure what's going on. So there was a lot of concern. There were multiple calls to 911, but we were on scene within minutes and able to at least stabilize the scene and calm people down.
Did you have fire and smoke coming out of two manholes?
Yes.
At some point?
Yes.
And the third manhole does not have anything coming out of it?
Just smoke. Just smoke.
Any final questions? Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, everybody.
All right, that was Acting Fire Chief Thomas Cahill Jr. updating everyone on the manhole explosions earlier this day in Harvard Square. You can see it's still shut down. Businesses were evacuated because there's trouble with a third manhole that is still emitting carbon monoxide. Levels past what is regarded safe. So no immediate timeline on when those businesses will be open. The acting fire chief said certainly not tonight. Make sure you stick with us on WBZ News at 5 and of course always on WBZ.com as we continue to update you with the latest information on these Cambridge manhole explosions.